Sorry. Hi. Welcome to the possibly either the take 2 of the second episode of the Mark Zuckerberg is an Alien Robot podcast, or just something new entirely. I don't know yet. Nothing's confirmed. The first attempt at the second episode was scrapped due to everybody thinking it was too controversial, which, if you know about conspiracy theories, I'd say it's bullshit. But enough about that. I don't know, what I'm talking about is not, I don't know if it's really a conspiracy theory here. Let me try. Is the Shroud of Turin a conspiracy theory? I don't think so. It would just say yes or no if it was or wasn't, so it has conspiracy theories. Anyway, yeah, that's the topic I wanted to talk about today since my grandpa will never shut up about it. Anyway, so I have the Wikipedia article. Yes, I use Wikipedia because Wikipedia is fine. I'm pretty sure. I haven't had any bad experiences with Wikipedia except for that time of the year, when it begs for money. So, anyway, the Shroud of Turin, also known as the Holy Shroud, is a length of linen cloth that bears a faint image of the front and back of a naked man. Details of the image are consistent with traditional depictions of Jesus of Nazareth after his death by crucifixion. The shroud has been venerated for centuries, especially by members of the Catholic Church, as Jesus' actual burial cloth, upon which his image was miraculously imprinted. The human image on the shroud can be discerned more clearly in the black and white and photographed negative than its natural sepia color. An effect discovered in 1898 by Secondo Pia, who produced the first photographs of the shroud. This negative image is associated with a popular Catholic devotion of the Holy Face of Jesus. Interesting. Okay. Documented history. Microscope. Crown. Description. Okay, that's history. I want to go to the juicy bits. Conversation. Oh, here we go. This is where it's at. The shroud has undergone several restorations, and several steps have been taken to preserve it to avoid further damage and contamination. It is kept under laminated bulletproof glass in an airtight case. The temperature and humidity controlled case is filled with argon, 99.5% argon, and 0.5 oxygen. To prevent chemical change, the shroud itself is kept on an aluminum support sliding on runners and stored flat with the case. Religious views. Where's the... Okay, I think I'll just take over from here. I know a lot about it. Grandpa says a lot of things about it. So, for those of you who don't know, which I'm pretty sure as of now, only my family is watching this, but if this ever takes off, and there are a lot of people who have never even heard of the Shroud and Turin, it's not that popular. Never even heard of the Shroud and Turin. People are gonna go, what? What's that? I don't know what that is. What are you talking about? Okay, whatever. I'm not clicking on your video. Those kinds of people, so I can inform them. Shroud of Turin is according to the people who basically worship the thing, is the burial cloth of Jesus. And apparently when he rised again, this tremendous burst of light came out and marked its image on the shroud. Grandpa's muted the TV, I don't know why. Anyway. Burst of light came out in a shroud. And apparently it's, not, you can't remake it, I guess, or something. Like, you can't. There's all the scientific power in the world couldn't remake it. So, don't know why. But according to the legends of the shroud, according to my my grandpa, apparently they were able to extract blood on it. I don't know how. It's like, if it's from Jesus, Jesus was born, supposed to be born. That's what the Bible says is December 25th, 0. So that means that's 2024 years ago. So that means I don't see that. Anyway, moving on. They extracted the blood, saw in his DNA, discovered, I guess, hell, they discovered everything about him. They discovered that he writes with his right hand, I guess. I think if you just extracted anybody's blood these days, I don't think you'd be able to tell that they're right-handed. Now, maybe if that's a real burst of light and a really accurate drawing of Jesus, like, very accurate, this would be very accurate. Sure, the dominant hand might be, let's see. I don't see it, but I think the right hand is, because if you're right-handed or left-handed, whichever hand is your dominant hand will be, a lot more built, because you use it more. Use it for writing, use it for shooting, whatever. You hold most things with your right hand. Because it's, it's what's right to you. Like, if you see anybody who writes without their dominant hand, that writing is going to suck. Really bad. Really bad. Anyway, God, it looks so weird. I'm looking over there, but I'm looking straight at the screen. I'm right here. I am looking straight at me. But I'm looking over there. I'm gonna have to get used to that. Okay, I think I'm looking at it now. I think if I just look here, yes, okay. Anyway. So yeah, I guess they learned he's right-handed from his DNA. But what's most intriguing is the fact that, according to Grandpa, they were able to find out from his DNA that he was born of a virgin. Now, you don't know, that's impossible, and would be a magnificent scientific discovery, and would definitely make the news, because, that's just incredible. That would be an incredible find, because it's like, it's almost impossible. No, it is impossible. You can't just be born of a virgin. That's not how it works. Not how it works. So, yeah. Like, shut up. Point is, for that to be discovered at all, it would make news. It would have news coverage, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah. And apparently, Grandpa keeps on saying they found new stuff on it. But, let's see, when did they study it? When did they study? When did study the Shroud of Turin. Since it has been studied in the 70s. Okay. When was the Shroud of Turin last out of its display box? Whatever. I'm pretty sure that they studied it back in the 80s and 70s and haven't let it out for decades. I haven't let it out since then. Catholic Church, owned it in Italy. They haven't let it out since then. So there's no way they could find anything else on it because it hasn't been let out in years. It just hasn't been. So that can't be true. How do you study something when you just don't have possession of it? Yeah. Let's see. Shroud. 7 intriguing facts. History.com. We all know this is gonna be good. In terms of sex. Screw you. Okay. 1. The shroud first surfaced in medieval France. The earliest historical record of the Shroud of Turin placed it in Liry, France during the 1350s. A French knight named Geoffrey de Charnay allegedly presented it to the dean of the church in Liry as Jesus' authentic burial cloth. There's no record of how de Charnay got his hands on the shroud, nor where it was during the 1300 intervening years since Christ's burial. English burial outside Jerusalem. Okay, so it was discovered in medieval times. So not when Jesus not when Jesus was Jesusing along the earth, walking on water and making blind people see and regrowing feet or whatever in the hell he did. I don't know. Whatever it was. All that. And more, I'm pretty sure. And yeah. The Pope soon declared... The Pope soon declared it was not an actual historic relic. After the Church of Liry put the shroud on display, the church began to draw a lot of pilgrims and also a lot of money. However, many prominent members of the church remained skeptical of its authenticity. Around 1389, Pierre d'Arcis, the Bishop of Troyes, France, sent a report to Pope Clement VII claiming an artist had confessed to forging the shroud. Furthermore, the artist claimed the dean of the Liry Church knew it was a fake and had used it to raise money anyway. In response, the Pope declared the shroud wasn't the true burial cloth of Jesus. Still, he said the Liry Church could continue to display it if it acknowledged the cloth was a man-made religious icon, not a historic relic. Today, Pope Francis still describes it as an icon, in quotes. An icon. Icon. Fascinating. I must say so myself. It's pretty fascinating. This is not going to take off at all. People are going to look at it. One day, if I ever get popular, if I ever get out there, people are going to go back and look at this and go, this is cringe. This is embarrassing. This is awful shit. But isn't that what happens to everybody? Everyone that makes it big, you look back at their YouTube video. Like Jacksepticeye, look back at his first YouTube video. It's an awful Snake from Metal Gear Solid impression. Commentary YouTuber that no one's ever heard of, August the Duck. You know, his first video was him talking to this camera and just talking about nothing and being weird. Every YouTuber can look back at their first video and go, "Oh God, I was so cringy." But that's how we all start out. Number three, the intriguing fact number 3. The Chinese granddaughter was excommunicated for selling it to Italian royals. 1418, when the 100 Years' War threatened to spill over into Liary, Geoffrey de Charny's granddaughter, Margaret de Charny, and her husband offered to store the cloth in their castle, rather than wrote a receipt for the exchange acknowledging that the cloth was not Jesus' authentic burial shroud, and promising to return the shroud when it was safe. However, she later refused to return it and instead took on tour advertising it as Jesus' real burial shroud. Wow. Okay. Greedy much? She should be an entrepreneur. In 1453, that year, the year that had those 4 numbers in that order, Margaret de Charny sold the shroud in exchange for 2 castles to the royal house of Savoy, which ruled over parts of modern-day France, Italy, and Switzerland. The house later ascended to the Italian throne as punishment for selling the shroud. She received excommunication. Oh boy, look at that picture. So it looks like. Here, let me bring it. You see that? Can you make any of that out? Hope so. It's gonna be on YouTube, so I know. So number 1, it's filmed on an iPhone. Number 2, it's on YouTube. So the quality's not gonna be great. So it looks like that's the shroud. And that's somebody looking at the shroud. Got knives in them. Looks like he's being stabbed by swords. But I don't know. I think that's the granddaughter. I think that's the granddaughter. A bunch of people are gathering. There's the shroud. Yeah. Okay. That looks like the guy who has his finger pointed in that one iconic image representing God. You know, when we got the fingers, they're touching. Fingers. Babies, no, little cupids or something. I don't know. This art makes no sense. That's the shroud. I doubt. Oh, I think you can. Right here is the face. I hope it looks clear on my screen. I don't know if it'll look clear on the video. Okay, now that's gotta be clear. That's the most clear image of it. Oh, that's the face. That's the full thing in the AI version, in the AI upscaled version. This, I think it's Jesus being put on a stone thing, like a stretcher thingy. This looks like some church. And some artifacts. Okay, neat. Let's move on. Okay. Before the shroud moved to Turin, it was almost lost to a fire. In 1502, the House of Savoy placed the shroud in the Saint Chapel in Chambéry, which is now part of France. In 1532, 30 years later, a fire broke out in the chapel. It melted part of the silver in the container protecting the shroud, and the silver fell onto part of the shroud, burning through it. The burn marks and the water stains from where the fire was extinguished are still visible today. It's cool. In 1578, I need to get. I'm tired, man. The House of Savoy moved the shroud to the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Turin, which later became part of Italy. It has remained there ever since, with the expectation of World War II, when Italy relocated it for safekeeping. Fact number 5. There have been many scientific studies about its authenticity. Despite the fact that Pope Clement declared the Shroud of Turin a fake over 600 years ago, there has been no end to the debate about the shroud's authenticity. Starting in the 20th century, people on both sides of the debate began to bolster their arguments with scientific studies. In the 1970s, the Shroud of Turin research project said the markings on the cloth were consistent with a crucified body and the stains were real human blood. In 1988, one group of scientists said their analysis showed the shroud originated between 1260 and 1390. That's what I've heard. While another said their analysis showed it originated between 300 BC and AD 400. When 20 and 8 in, you know, yeah, you do. Those years, you know what years. Look up the article yourself. 300 BC and between 300 BC and AD 400. That's better. In 2018, researchers used forensic techniques to argue the bloodstains on the shroud couldn't have come from Christ. Just a picture of the shroud. That one. A lot of pictures of the shroud. Sign up for... No, I don't know. I don't want to. The shroud is protected by bulletproof glass. Security is tight. Well, this is 6. Security is tight for the frail Shroud of Turin. It is rarely shown to the public and is guarded by security cameras and bulletproof glass. Is it really that important? Damn. The latter security measure actually proved to be a bit of a roadblock in 1997 when a fire broke out in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist. Firefighters had to hammer through 4 layers of bulletproof glass to save the shroud. Is it really that important that you need not just 1, not 2, not even 3, 4 layers to protect it? It's just a piece of cloth that doesn't even mean anything. It's not even what it is supposed to be. It's not even what people claim it to be. The shroud entered the digital age in April 2020. Turin Archbishop Caesar Nasigoli announced that in the light of the devastation from COVID-19, people around the world would be able to view the Shroud of Turin online for Easter. On the Thursday before the holiday in 2020, Italy reported 626,000 cases of COVID-19 and 18,279 deaths from the virus. Remember those days when we were all doom and gloom and hiding in our houses and we had to go to work and school online and everything was hell, the world was burning and we thought the world was going to end. But it didn't. We're here today. The world's not going to end anytime soon. And for over 100 years. Well, after we're all gone. We won't see the world end. We won't see the world end. I don't think so. Unless, the sun suddenly just gets, thrown into the earth. But I don't think that's even really possible at all, so. It isn't Solar Smash, but this ain't Solar Smash. This is real life. Welcome to it. Archbishop Nasigoli said he was motivated to provide a live stream of the shroud, which was publicly displayed in 2015 by thousands of people who requested to view it during the the virus, the COVID-19 virus, the coronavirus, that virus, the one that we all lived through, and we're still living through today, not really. It's not as bad as we thought it was, apparently. Anyways, before I get into why that episode was canceled, I first want to give a shout out, if this goes anywhere, if this makes it big, for why, shout out to Carl Limmer, my uncle. He has a podcast. It's called First Responder Fitness. It's about fitness. Whoa. Really? It's about fitness. Apparently his wife edits it because he rambles. I can see that. So yeah, First Responder Fitness by Carl Limmer. When you're done with this video, go check it out. You can even, if you don't want to hear all the controversies, and then just see you later. Okay, controversies. Why did we scrap the episode? Well, we started this a week ago. Mark Zuckerberg, because that was the whole name of the podcast. Mark Zuckerberg is an alien robot. So we talked about that. This week, I decided to take another one of my grandpa's theories about Obama being a Muslim communist. Now, is that controversial? Number one, what thing in politics isn't? And number two, what conspiracy theory isn't? So, everybody thought it was fine first. Everyone was all happy and ready to do this podcast. Everyone was excited to do the podcast. But then we get 15 minutes in, and everybody's like, yeah, no, I'm not sure about this one. I just don't have a good feeling about it. I think it's too controversial. Bullshit. Every theory is controversial. And if you thought that, you should have told me when I first suggested it. I would go, okay, we'll come up with something else. We'll come up with something else. I won't get mad. Because, when you just pulled that out of your ass like that, out of nowhere, the whole time you thought it was okay. You even get there and record 15 minutes of it. Anyways, so they tell me it's too controversial. So we scrapped the episode, talk a little bit. I get told I said my grandpa's full name. I did not. I just said grandpa. That's not his full name. There are thousands of grandpas in this, millions, billions probably, of grandpas on this earth. So, okay, so yeah, grandpa. I guess I said my friend's name, and I'm sorry I did that. What I'm not sorry for is giving the idea. We're trying to fucking salvage the idea at the end. Because, I want to fucking get this episode out. Because I might have a tiny audience. It might just be my family. But I still have an audience. And I like posting this shit. I like posting stuff. It's fun. I like it. Thank you. So, I get kind of upset. I don't think they notice, so I just leave. Go to a couple of friends. Go through the rest of the day. Go home. Go to therapy. And then to stack on this bullshit about the podcast, I have to have some family therapy, and I have some family drama where somebody says something that's just not true. I get mad. I leave the room. So, today's just been fucking shitty. Very shitty. Okay. Future of the podcast. I am seriously considering just leaving it to Joey. Because if you can't handle something controversial, why make a podcast about conspiracy theories, which are controversial? Hell, they're almost identical in every way. They will start with con, and yeah, and they have. I think that's the same thing as controversial, conspiracy. Not quite, but almost. So, future of the podcast. If we figure this out, if we iron everything out, the podcast will just continue. We'll be able to do what we want. I might just not do it. I might leave anyway. Or we can get things ironed out. They can figure it out. If I leave, if I don't, then I'll just continue. I really don't want to. Everything goes really shitty. Worst case, everything goes really shitty, and we're not able to salvage the podcast. I'll just give it to Joseph. and then make my own podcast. Now, what that podcast would be about? What I would name it first would be Bronson Wimmer Talks About Stuff, or random shit, random bullshit, whatever. I haven't ironed that out yet. Anyway, I talk about random stuff. Bronson Wimmer talks about random stuff. I would talk about anything I want to, anything I feel like. I feel like first I'd probably want to, I don't know, maybe try the trending stuff so I can get this out there maybe. Or I could just do what I want. I kind of prefer that, honestly. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what, I think I might have a occasional co-host. My sister from another mister. Yeah. She might make a few episodes. She might make a few appearances. Yeah. So Bronson Wimmer talks about random stuff. Bronson talks about random bullshit. Bronson talks about random shit. Probably random stuff, since I bet you YouTube doesn't like swearing in the the title. I am so tired, man. It's been a long day. So that's the possible future of the podcast. I am seriously considering just leaving it though, because I don't want to anymore. If we're just gonna do that every time. You know, if we're just gonna scrap an episode because it's too controversial and you're talking about conspiracy theories, then why bother? Why even bother? You know, it's like, why? Anyways, so I think that's all for this time. That's all I have energy for. I'm just gonna watch YouTube, do something with my time. Waste my time. Watch the Penguin, I don't know. Do something. And then go to bed at some point. Get ready for school tomorrow. It's late. I'm tired. Long day. So I think that's all for this time. This is Bronson Wimmer signing off.